Hello, everyone, and welcome to another hot take for the This Had Better Work podcast. This is Craig. I just wanted to come on and talk about self-care. Now, as a guy, maybe it's just me. I don't want to speak for all guys, but as a guy, I really don't think that a lot of men think about self-care, or men of a certain age may not think of self-care as being important. Like it's a younger generation type of mentality that thinks about things like that. I remember working for a nonprofit. This is back in 2018, 2019, and the organization that I was working through that hooked me up with the nonprofit, they would have different meetings that the volunteers would be sent to, that we had to participate in. And one of those meetings was about self-care. And as I'm sitting there listening to it, I'm like, okay, this is a bunch of, hooey. This is, for the young kids. They're so soft and things like that. But at the end of that hour or so, or whatever it was that we were meeting, I realized that even though it's called self-care and it sounds soft and mushy, it's really about taking time for yourself, that to help yourself survive. Because sometimes we get so caught up in what we're doing. For me, this podcast, editing and recording and coming up with topics and working in my regular job and family and all these other things, and then trying to make things successful. You read all these different things about do this, do that, plan this, plan that, and you're so stretched out. In fact, Holly in our podcast have in our meetings that we've had, she has mentioned sometimes you just get overwhelmed by all the information that you receive, all the helpful tips and tricks that are out there that you try. You get so overwhelmed, especially when things don't happen overnight and you wonder, am I doing it correctly? You can get burned out really, really quickly. And you say to yourself, well, why am I even in business for myself if my health is suffering, if my mental health, my physical health, my spiritual health is suffering? Yes, the financial health part of it will suffer as well as you're growing. It could, not necessarily has to, but sometimes that comes over time, and we can kind of expect that it may not happen overnight. But the toll that some of this stuff plays on our lives, on our mental and physical and spiritual health, it can be overwhelming. And self-care is so important to kind of recenter yourself and say, let me just step back. Let me disengage myself from editing or disengage myself from the last conversation that I had that wasn't positive. Let me disengage myself from this negative news or this, meeting that I just had and I have to rush and do something else. Let me disengage myself from the 100 things that I have on my to-do list. Let me just stop for a second and just do nothing. Not scroll on Instagram, not go on YouTube, not go and read the news. Now, if those things are things that kind of bring you, a sense of pleasure, in a sense, and you can relax by doing those things, then yes, I would say, yeah, go ahead and do those things. I like watching fishing videos. That's like my thing. I don't know if you can tell that about me or not, but I love fishing, and especially saltwater fishing. And so I will go onto YouTube and just watch fishing videos. I have the people that I follow, the channels that I follow. Then sometimes I'll see another channel that the fish, the screen grab looks interesting to me. So I'll say I wouldn't mind watching that. So that's how I relax. I also love music and listening to music, even music that just puts you to sleep. I love classical music, so I will play that for hours. Just disengage your mind. Just relax. Get something to drink. Just remove yourself from the laptop or the computer or even the room that is your designated office. Those things are important. They really are. And then also exercising. When I wake up in the morning, I do stretches. I don't do yoga. I tried to do yoga one time, dag near killed me. But I do my stretches to kind of stretch my muscles and get my mind focused for the day. And going through that routine also kind of helps me to relax and prepare for what's ahead. So having a routine of what I do to relax, to center myself is important for me. And I would suggest that if you're not practicing self-care, do it. Try, come up with something that is healthy. Don't, gorge yourself with food. Please don't make your self-care option to relax eating a whole pizza. I would just say, go get a sip of water, some lemonade, something that, is sweet that can hit the spot, but don't get in the habit of just sitting there eating or just gorging yourself on television and news. Don't go overboard with it, but find that happy medium to say, okay, for the next 30 minutes, even if it's for 10 minutes, for the next 10 minutes, I'm just going to sit here and do nothing. Nothing. I'm not going to answer the phone. I'm not going to look at my email. I'm not going to look at any news. I'm not going to look at my to-do list. I'm just going to sit here literally and do nothing. I'm going to go outside and walk the dog. I'm going to go outside and check the mail. I'm going to go outside and walk around the house or walk around the neighborhood. I'm just going to sit here and look out the window, something to kind of get your mind away from the things that you have to do. Because what's it all for if you are stressed out at the end of the day? What's it all for if you can't enjoy a healthy life as you work towards your independence and freedom from the rat race? What's it all for? What's the purpose of all of this if we can't enjoy good health? There are people who are in the hospital. There are people who are experiencing health issues, people who have died, that I'm sure if they were alive still were wishing they had done things differently, had taken a little bit more time for themselves, for their family. So this may sound like a somber type of hot take, but I just really want us to kind of just sit back sometime and just say, this is important. My mental health is important enough for me just to stop. Let me just stop. I mean, really, like legit stop and do nothing for 10, 15, 20, 30, even an hour, outside of your lunch break. Just stop. It'll still be there. The things that you need to do will still be there. But I think just having that mental break, that physical break, that spiritual break sometimes is enough to clear our minds, to help us relax, to approach things from a different perspective with a different attitude, a different speed, to help us to do even better than we would if we were just trying to rushing through things. So that's my hot take for today. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate each and every one of you, especially the comments and the suggestions and the critiques of our shows and our hot takes and things like that. That means a lot to me. That's another thing I like is reading those positive comments. So please send us a comment, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, listen to our past podcasts and things like that. Share them with other people as well, because we're all in this together. We're all in this together. Also, in the comments, put in the comments things that you do to relax that are appropriate to put in the comments. If it's something that you have to think, do I need to put this in the comment, then you may not need to put it in there. But if it's something that is wholesome, that you don't mind anyone and everyone, looking at and reading over, please put in the comments, what you do to relax from or to disengage yourself, to engage in self-care, to help you relax on those days where everything is just coming at you and you need to take a break. Put those in those comments, share those things. Again, clean things only, please. And we greatly appreciate it. Thank you again for taking the time to listen, and we'll talk to you next time.